Mr. Graziano back a little further on the same drawing. Um, you can see now what I've done is I've started to add, the very darkest areas, medium dark areas, and then I took my white pencil and I started making the areas that are a little lighter. It's a little lighter right here. Definitely there's a definite real solid white spot, a reflection on the eye. In order to make that really look solid, I'm gonna go really sharp and dark right around it. Now that really pops out because it's surrounded by black, okay? So the iris here is a gray. It's not a black, but the pupil's definitely a black, okay? Bottom eyelid is getting a little dark there, but it's definitely really dark in this little area here. The corner of the eye, this eyelid here, okay? Now my eyebrow, you can barely tell it's there. It's not very pronounced. I mean, my whole forehead is pretty dark here, or I should say medium dark. The eyebrow just gets a little dark. You can see some hairs there. You can see a little there. I think this area could be a little darker here. Notice I'm holding my pencil way back. Okay? Maybe a little darker right here at the turn of my nose. Now think about this. I'm working from a photo, but you still have to keep in mind you're trying to draw something that's three-dimensional. My face isn't flat. It's a three-dimensional surface, okay? So I always try to think about this. Think of it like hills and valleys. The valleys are going to get really dark. The hills, the areas that stick up, are going to get lighter, okay? Now I happen to have some light from the bottom right on my face, so it's a little different than the way you'd see most things, but notice the lightest area is probably my cheek here, okay? So I'm gonna work a little bit of white in that area. So I'm holding my pencil back and just starting to work some white in there. And the white sort of fades, so I'll let it fade away. And I'll concentrate a little bit more in some other areas. Okay? And every once in a while, it's really good to do is to look at this thing from afar. Okay? Because when you're up close, sometimes it's hard to see things. So what you want to do is, here, I'll do it on my camera. I can't zoom out any closer than that, further away than that. But pick your picture, walk away from it at a distance. Hang on, tape it up on the wall. Because when you look at things up close sometimes, it looks quite a bit different than when you start walking further away. Okay? So that's what I'm doing right now. You can see with my chin here, I made the shirt dark so you could see my chin, because on here, the chin is light and the shirt's a little darker. Okay? I think I missed my neck a little bit. I think it just needs to be a little bit more in here. So I had to go over that a little bit of white. I usually don't like doing that, but I think a little bit more in there. And the edge of my chin, maybe just a little bit light, just a little bit. Because it's a little lighter. It's not light, but I'd say it's lighter than this paper, because the paper is pretty dark. So think about that. Okay, it's the paper. This is a photo that's on white paper. This is brown paper. So I'm going to have to put my whites in here on this piece of paper. Now notice this area here. Any place you just leave one flat color, and this is just the flat paper color of the brown of the paper here, it's going to look flat. Okay, so you have to think, what do I need to do here? Well, it looks like it's a little bit lighter in this area, a little bit lighter there, and it kind of fades a little bit. Okay, it's a little light up by the nose. It's catching a little light there by the nose here, and a little here, kind of around that nostril area. Okay, and then it's dark up in this little corner of my nose, and then it fades away. So I'm going to fade that away a little bit. Just fading it away. Barely touching it, just letting it fade like this. Okay? So I'll come back in a little bit. We'll see how we progress. I guess we could go, I'll just talk about this up here. You can see my head is darker on the front here, and then as it starts turning the corner here, it's getting a little lighter. So I'm going to leave the paper there. Now, I have a hairline here, but the hairline's not real solid. I just kind of indicated some little white edging there. And so when I'm starting to do this hair, you can see up here, it's quite a bit darker. Now, my hair obviously goes in a direction, and it goes down my head like most people. And so I'm going to use strokes that are going like this. But you can see here the strokes are a little further apart and there's more head showing, especially down in this area where my sideburns are. I wouldn't say that's black at all. So I'm going to go with strokes here that are very light and more of a gray. And then they'll progressively get a little bit darker as they head to this side of my head. So my head gets darker over here. So I'm using strokes in that direction. And it kind of goes behind my ear here. And that defines the edge of my ear. So I'm going to go actually take a nice sharp line right around this area, just kind of go around my ear. So you're kind of leaving that space light for later and still stroking where my hair is in here. Now, I drew a sideburn in here, but on this picture, my sideburn does not stand out a lot. It's not like I got this big rectangular shape here. Little bit of texture. So I've got some strokes in there indicating a little bit of a rectangle, but I wouldn't make this big hard rectangle. At least not on this picture. So I got lighter strokes, working my way to darker strokes over here. Okay, lighter strokes, and get the direction of the strokes too. So we'll put it on hold here and we'll come back a little later when I'm a little further and we can see sort of part 3 of this.